morning, everybody. Today is Monday, and this is going to be a really cool video. So, previously, I built an RB25 for an R33, and here she is. So, we are going to finally be getting this thing running for my buddy. It's ready for startup, but just need to go over a bunch of little things. So beautiful. Let me show you. I built this motor maybe a couple months ago. Everything you can name has been done to this thing, even modified crank and oil pump, bunch of shit. But today I'm going to be going over all the inspection for the first startup, correcting the fuel lines, wiring specialties, sent over a harness that was not really functional, obviously, so I got to correct that. Basically just going over all of everything that's important to the startup. I'm going to be priming the oil pump by hand, making sure the ECU is priming the fuel pump by itself, because right now it's on and off switch. Got to wire the TPS sensor back too, because wiring specialties did not wire that correctly either. And just a bunch of little things, but you guys will see throughout the video. Another little update on the R33. So I fixed his injector connectors. Luckily, I had a couple left over from an engine harness I was building, so that worked out. I'm fixing his fuel system because everything was all flipped, like the return and the feed and fuel pressure regulator and all that crap. So all of that's pretty much taken care of. Put his flex fuel sensor on the correct side as well. Next on the list is finalizing up the actual fuel system, and then going over everything on the engine, such as grounds, all connections, well, yada yada yada. After that, we're going to go to the rear and situate his fuel pump relay, and I'm going to pull signal from the ground pin and send it over to the computer's prime pin for the fuel pump, so everything primes off the ECU. Other than that, she's going pretty good. Hoping to start her today. That would be great. So front portion of the engine bay is almost done. So I normally put my fuel filters underneath the car. So this one came to us right there. I kind of just left it. And this is how I did my fuel system. So I turned on the pump. I found out that this fitting right here is actually the feed. So it comes straight up in here, down into the fuel filter, back out, and then going to the E85 flex fuel sensor, back to the rails feed, then going over here to the return, then going from the return to the side of the regulator, the side, either or, doesn't matter, and then return is at the bottom of the fuel pressure regulator, back to the actual return line on the chassis itself. So if you ever are wondering, that's kind of how it could be plumbed, and it doesn't matter on a vehicle, it's pretty much the same thing if you understand that simple concept. But why is it so blurry? There we go. But now I'm just going to check over my work, make sure all the fittings are tight, everything's good, then gonna jump to all the grounds and signals, blah blah blah, make sure all that's good, then start the car. Actually, I might be able to start it, and then I can situate the pump, as in the priming the pump off of the ECU ground signal. I can do that after. I just want to see if this thing starts. I'm like so excited. We built this motor a long time ago, actually, so finally get to hear my baby run. And if you guys have any questions about the engine, go ahead and jump to our Instagram, and there is a complete build on the page. Actually, I should have filmed it, but I barely started vlogging recently. And everything's pretty much situated on it. No leaks on the fuel system, none of that. So let's try to see if we can get her started up. Keep in mind, I have not put the engine harness on myself or any of that. I basically built the engine. They took it home, put it together, brought it back to me so I can finish it up. So let's try to start it up. Go ahead. No. Wow. Okay, let's see what this is. All right, so I went over everything and I determined that we have no spark, but I do get power to the actual coil packs, so that's kind of weird to me. I'm gonna go over everything, make sure we have ground, and make sure the signal coming from the computer is good. because again, this is a Wiring Specialties engine harness, and I don't know, so many issues so far, but let's get this done. Okay, so I finally got connected to the computer. I went over a couple things, realized we had super low battery voltage, so that was probably why we weren't getting spark. Fixed that, cranked it over. We got a little backfire, but it sounds like ignition timing is a little too early. And like I said, I didn't do this base map, and I'm trying to get it on myself. So I advanced his ignition timing on the distributor right now. I haven't done anything to the computer. I'm trying to go off with what the tuner did. But other than that, let's see what we can do. Hopefully I can get this thing started. Okay, so what I know for sure is the ignition timing is way off. It's almost about to start, but that's with me advancing the shit out of the cam angle sensor, and we don't want that. Okay, so I just realized something. As we were cranking, I noticed the AEM gauge turned off, so I was like, what? That's kind of weird. But as I let the key go, turned it back on. So immediately I started wondering if the ECU was getting switched power if I was wondering if the computer was getting power while we were cranking. And just as I thought, check this out. So we are connected, right? And as I crank,
it does.
Oh wow, now it's connection lost right there. See? All right, so finally got proper voltage to the computer, and we cranked it over and she backfired for us. The trigger angle was at 108 degrees, so now I put it to 100. So let's see. Okay, still nothing. So let's go to 110. 110, since it is usually supposed to be around 108. So I'm just moving it just a tad. Come on, apply. Okay, let's go. Let's see. No mames. All right, battery's dying again. Fuck. Okay, and unfortunately that is going to be the end of this video. We didn't get the car to start this time, but we are going to get a couple things we need in order to start it, such as a better jumper pack. I'm going to get some jumper cables just in case. But the only thing that was stopping us right now from getting our ignition timing set was voltage, as you saw. We got everything on the car pretty much situated, such as fuel lines, injector connector, TPS pin out, getting the ECU to prime the fuel pump once the key is on, just a bunch of little things. The next video, like I said, we're going to get the ignition timing set. We are going to be hopefully heading over to Koji to get this thing dynoed, and hopefully some beautiful sounds. But other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one. And yeah, follow us on Instagram.